You know those movies, right, where the hero unlocks 100% of their brain and just instantly becomes a super genius? It's such a classic sci-fi idea, the ultimate power-up. I mean, just imagine what that would feel like, to have your mind firing on all cylinders at its absolute peak capacity. Okay, let's actually dive into this and see what that might really look like.
So let's just lean into that fantasy for a second. What if you, right now, could suddenly access every single part of your brain all at once? What would you do? Would you compose a symphony in an afternoon? Solve world hunger? It's a really fun thought experiment, so let's explore what that kind of power would actually mean.
Well, if the movies are anything to go by, you'd be totally limitless. You could paint a masterpiece in, a minute? Learn every language on Earth in an hour? That Rubik's Cube that's been on your shelf for years? Bam! Solved in a blink. You wouldn't just be smarter, you'd be this superhuman force, practically bending reality to your will.
It's an incredible thought, isn't it? It's the ultimate power fantasy. This idea that there's this huge, untapped reservoir of potential just sitting inside our skulls, waiting for the right key to unlock it. It's a story we really love to tell ourselves. But, yeah, there's a pretty big problem with this whole idea. A fundamental flaw in the fantasy that, well, science has a lot to say about.
So it's time for a little reality check. That popular idea that we only use 10% of our brains? To put it bluntly, it's a total myth. And we're about to dig into the biological reasons why that whole 100% fantasy just doesn't hold up.
The first massive roadblock is, well, your own body. See, even if you could dedicate all your brain power to becoming a world-class musician overnight, you just can't. Your brain already has a much more important, full-time job, simply keeping you alive.
Just think about it for a second. Right now, without you even having to think about it, your brain is making sure your lungs are breathing, your heart is beating, your last meal is digesting, and your blood is circulating. This isn't optional stuff. This is the nonstop background processing that takes up a huge amount of your brain's energy, 24/7.
And this brings us right to the heart of it, how your brain actually works. The whole 10% myth is based on a huge misunderstanding of what the brain is even made of. It's not just one big muscle waiting for you to flex it.
Okay, so if we're already using our brain for all this critical life support stuff, where in the world did this idea of only using 10% even come from? And here it is. This is almost certainly the source of the whole confusion. When you look at what your brain is made of at a cellular level, it's about 10% neurons and about 90% another kind of cell called glial cells. It seems pretty likely that someone way back when saw that 10% number and just ran with it, assuming only the neurons were doing the quote-unquote important work.
But what's really cool is how these two types of cells work together. You've got your neurons, which are like the processors. They're the ones sending signals and doing the thinking. But then you have the glial cells, and they're the essential support crew. They provide insulation, they bring in nutrients, they give everything structure. You absolutely cannot have the thinkers without the infrastructure that keeps them online. They are both 100% essential to the operation. You know, this also helps us bust another related myth, that a bigger brain automatically means you're smarter. That's not quite right. A human brain is way smaller than a whale's brain, for example. But that's just because our bodies are smaller. It's all about proportion and how it's wired, not just the raw size. And get this is a fantastic little fact. You have just as many neurons as Albert Einstein did. So genius isn't about having more brain cells or unlocking some secret hidden percentage. The point is, your brain already has all the raw materials it needs.
So this leads us to the real takeaway, the so what of all this. If we want to get smarter, we need to stop chasing some sci-fi fantasy. The real game isn't about unlocking more of your brain, it's about taking better care of the amazing brain you're already using every single second of every day.
So what's the actual secret to a better functioning brain? It's honestly wonderfully simple. Maintain healthy habits. Things like getting enough sleep, good nutrition, exercise, they aren't just for your body. They're the essential maintenance for your brain's hardware. They make sure both your processors, the neurons, and your support crew, the glial cells, are working in perfect harmony. That right there is the real path to optimizing your potential. And, when you think about it, taking care of the incredible machine you already have, well, it's a total no-brainer.
So we'll leave you with this final thought that you want. If the number of brain cells we have, or the percentage of the brain we use, if that's not what's limiting our potential, then what is? Maybe it's our focus,